greatest things about our office is that we find that the individuals that come to these workshops are much more engaged and involved in their health. They start doing things that will help them change their health for the better, and they become more engaged, more involved. And that's the key. You know, you come in here and some people have, you know, expectations of get me out of pain, or of, you know, oh, heal this, heal that. Ultimately, it's your body that does the healing. You know, there's a saying that we always talk about, above, down, inside out. You know, the healing happens no other way. So it's you know, the body, you know, the power that made the body heals the body. And we have a whole workshop on innate intelligence and how the body goes through those processes. But in order for that to function chiropractically, we talk about how the nervous system has to be clear. And interestingly enough, when I was preparing for this particular workshop, this workshop is more about prevention and not about pain and treating something that you already have. And when I was looking stuff up, one of the things that they mentioned was proper spinal alignment. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. It's becoming mainstream now, you know. And it was just, you know, but it was great to see that they're starting to understand the importance of that stuff. And I'll explain that to you. I'll explain that to you in a little bit. Is that yours, Tom?
I think it's mine.
Yeah, no, you dropped that.
Yeah, if it says
Okay.
Tuesday.
So having said that, again, I thank you. My hope is that you'll be open-minded. Some of this stuff is very basic, okay? But be open-minded, look at the things that you may or may not learn from it, but look at those things that you learn and have one single nugget that you may be reminded of that you could share with someone as you go along. Having said that, we're going to be talking about maintaining healthy blood sugar. Now, interestingly, who was it that just said, Nancy was just saying that she just was analyzed and that she has more hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, which is more not the norm nowadays, although some people have hypoglycemic type issues. So this actually applies to both high blood sugar and low blood sugar. And there are, you know, you have to remember that if you've eaten a certain way for many years, that it's going to take some time to reverse that process and actually have it take a look at it. So, it still has subtitle. So having said that, the first thing that you want to do when you're maintaining healthy blood sugar is eat in threes. Okay, has anybody ever heard of this? I usually talk about breaking your plate into thirds, which is part of this, but this is a little more in depth. It's eat every 3 hours and divide your plate into thirds. 1/3 protein, 1/3 fat, and 1/3 carbs. Okay, and you want to make sure that the carbs are low glycemic index carbs. Okay, and that's something for another workshop. It's very that's a very broad concept. But needless to say, there are certain foods that have high glycemic index, which means it triggers your body to produce a lot of insulin to process, and then all of a sudden it turns, and what happens is it overloads the body and glucose is formed in the body, and that just raises your blood sugars. So it's the body is just trying to fight that. So if you want to talk about that, then we have to do some sort of analysis of your nutritional levels and what you're doing, do a diary, and then figure out what foods you're eating that are high glycemic index and what are low. So our bodies want to eat every 3 hours, as it was in their natural schedule dating back from early mankind. Wait longer and your body goes into starvation mode. Now this is really important. As it assumes food is scarce, it packs on fat for future instead of burning it away immediately. That is important to understand, because if you are starving yourself and not eating, guess what it's doing with all the fats or all the foods that it's storing it as fat for later usage, okay, for energy later in case something happens. So your body is already in a crisis. So if you're eating every 3 hours, there's also the spikes and levels that your body goes through. So when you eat, okay, you eat something and this is your sugar levels. Usually when you eat, your sugar levels will go up. Okay, and if you're eating something with a high GI or a high glycemic index, okay, what ends up happening is this will go up really high and then it'll bottom out and you feel like you're crashing. Go ahead.
This eating every 3 hours, is that like a meal every 3 hours? Or
No,
you have
and we'll
some-
discuss, okay, that's a good question, because I was having this discussion with someone else earlier, they were saying, it's so hard to eat 5 or 6 times a day. Because it's really not, because you're talking about snacking. You're talking about grazing throughout the day, and I'll explain that, in a second. So what ends up happening is if you're starving yourself, your sugar levels drop, and this is where you can get dizzy, or your body just stores it and leaves it up here, okay? The ultimate thing is when you eat, if you're eating every 3 hours, you get this more stable sugar high, I should say, or the raise in sugar and drop. So what you want is you want something that's more along the middle and is a little more stable. So eating every 3 hours helps to stabilize that, because the body doesn't have to go through this massive, if you're gorging yourself and eating a lot, okay, I'm eating a lot at one single meal, what happens is your body has to really function, and it just shoots things up and it causes problems. So to answer your question, Tom, the big thing is, I always look at it this way. If someone goes to, say, and I'm using Subway as an example just because it's easy for people to understand. If you go to Subway and you order a 12-inch sub, okay, that's a lot of food. That's a lot of food. What do most people do if they order that size sub? They eat the whole thing, right? They eat the whole thing. I used to know a guy, okay? I used to know a guy that would go for lunch, he would go get 2 footballs. Just for lunch, okay?
Jared?
Uh-huh, no, not Jared. And the guy he was like 350 pounds. But then he had stomach surgery and he couldn't eat that much. So the thing is, it's the caloric intake that you're looking at, the amount of caloric intake you're looking at. So if you say you get the football, okay, don't eat the whole thing.
Cut it in 3s.
Cut it in 3s, or it's already cut, usually in half. So, but cutting it in 3s is a good way to look at it.
Tell them to do it and then you.
Yeah, and then you wrap it
Then you
up,
won't
and then you eat it throughout the day, and what'll happen is you're still gonna get the nutrition, but you're allowing your body to regulate the sugar levels as it's going along. Okay, not that that's the healthiest food to eat, but ultimately that's what you want to look at. So also you're looking at the breads. The breads usually have a very high glycemic index. Okay, so it's going to raise your sugar levels very high. So you want to be able to make sure that you're eating the proper breads and things that are going on. One of the most important things too is that we should be eating within an hour of waking up, because why is it called breakfast? Break fast, okay? When you first get up, you need to eat something, okay? You need to eat something within an hour, even if it's just a banana or a cup of yogurt or something in the morning, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but something with some protein or something in it that will help with that. And then what you do is you start, and then you should try to eat every 3 hours. I get up early, as my neighbors know, I get up early, and I'm usually gone, and I really don't have time to eat in the morning. I really don't have time, so what do? I grab a banana, and then when I get here, I make sure I snack on something throughout the day. So when you're eating throughout the day, what you're doing is you're not eating whole meals. You're just breaking those large meals into smaller portions, and then you're looking at what you're eating. So those are the things that you're looking at. Snacks like peanuts, which are very low glycemic index but high in calories, okay? Or apples or fruits, which are lower in glycemic index, most are, not all, but they're lesser in calories, okay, than peanuts are. So the thing is, even though peanuts have a lower glycemic index, okay, affecting your sugar levels, they are very high in calories and saturated fats.
I've always been a brown bag of the lunch or during the day of working, but if you pack a lunch and you pack the drinks, there's no way in hell I'd take that brown bag that I packed and sit at 12 noon and eat the whole thing. So that is for the whole, you craze out and you're packed.
Yeah, and that's the thing, but a lot of people don't do that anymore. A lot of people go out to eat. Okay, they don't, and guess what?
That's part of it too.
Prepare a mobile readiness food kit. Okay, because that's a big, because it's different. It's different. When I was growing up, when I went to school, I was always brown bagging it. I was always, growing up, my mother always gave me the sandwiches, and all the other kids would get the food and that I wanted to eat. My mother would give me this, and I'd be like, no, I don't want to eat that. I want to eat that. You know the whatever it was that she was giving me, and she would give me good food. It was just I wanted the other stuff because all my friends were eating something different, you know. But if you look at things that you can carry, the way you prepare to eat every 3 hours, no matter where you are, you'll want a grab-and-go kit with 250 to 300 calorie snack meals to eat between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Here's a simple kit to get you started. Now that's not a lot. So that's 250, 300 calories, really? It's not. One banana is 100 calories. And if you grab a bag, if you have a small bag of peanuts or almonds with it, there you go. That's part of the meal. But it helps to regulate the sugar level because it keeps your body level. So I was at this store in Lake Placid. Oh my God, they had jerky, like everything in whatever form you could possibly think of. They had salmon, they had crocodile, they had
Awesome.
they had all these things. I was like, they had beef, they had possum. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But but the thing is, a small thing, and the reason they say turkey, because turkey is one of the highest protein contents that you can get per ounce. Okay, so it's very high. A handful of nuts for good fat and an apple for carbs. Snack 2, Greek yogurt for protein, a handful of sunflower seeds for good fat, and a handful of dried cranberries for carbs. So what is this? This is the thirds. Protein, good fat, carbs. It's the thirds again. Everything is in thirds. A natural protein bar with equal parts protein. Now, interestingly enough, you've got to avoid the protein bars that are packed with sugar, dairy, and artificial ingredients. Soy isolates, sugars, dairy, wheys, things like that. Instead, seek out bars made with real fruits and grains. So, somebody name one that's made out of that.
Nature food.
Which one?
Nature food?
Nature food? I don't know that one.
Nature's way. Nature's way, probably.
Nature's way.
Yeah.
If it is, that's good. Okay, I know that like the Lara bars
Yeah.
usually are that way. There's a couple others that I can't recall right now, but huh? Cliff bars usually, but they add sugars. They add sugars. The Cliff bars are made more for athletic endeavors. Okay, they're there for the energy. So that's something you have to look at, because if you're doing an athletic endeavor, obviously you want to look at. You do want the sugars, you do want the higher carbs, because you need that burst of energy, right? Okay, so, hey, go back.
Say Nature Valley, are they like a bad
Nate, those are usually full of sugars and other processed things. You look at the label, There's one, I can't remember right now, but I always used
Lots
to.
of like fake goods.
Huh?
If they taste good, they're not good.
They have some new
They'll-
ones out there.
Huh?
Nature Valley, I think, has a new
Oh,
line.
Nature
A lot of manufacturers
Are creating the new lines?
But again, you gotta read the label.
You have to read the label. You just have to.
Kind bars are good.
Kind bars, that's the one I was thinking of, the kind bars are good. Look, kind, K-I-N-D. Okay, so the thing is, well, to eat for every 3 hours, it's not a full meal, it's just a simple snack, and this is 250, 300 calories. This helps to stabilize sugar.
No Hershey bars on
No Hershey bars. No,
Yeah.
sorry.
No
If you're running a marathon and you want to eat a Hershey bar, go for it. I mean, you're gonna burn it off. You're gonna burn it off. I mean, but it's not the best thing that you're gonna eat. So those are the things that we look at. So 3 liters of cinnamon extract water. Okay, water is phenomenal, but if you really want to help start regulating your sugar levels, cinnamon. Cinnamon is one of the best things that you can use. And not the powdered stuff, but the actual extract. You could probably get it at Granite State Foods down here, or the food co-op, and maybe now even at Whole Foods. I don't know if Whole Foods has it, but I'm
You
sure
can
they
get it
do.
in the extract section,
Yeah.
there's a lot of it.
Yeah, so the thing is, recent studies show consuming as little as half a teaspoon of cinnamon a day can reduce blood sugar levels by up to 29%. So that's for people with high. So for you, Nancy, you wouldn't do this, okay? But you would still eat the other way to regulate your sugar levels, because guess what? Then you won't go hypoglycemic and you won't get dizzy. Okay, but this will help to lower it. So what I would suggest in your water is I would suggest putting lemon.
Yeah.
Which I would still suggest anyway, but lemon and cinnamon I don't always get a good taste out of. It also helps to lower triglyceride levels and cholesterol levels to reduce risk of heart attack and stroke, which they really haven't shown that. But When it comes to lowering blood sugar, cinnamon extract works even better than whole cinnamon. Just add 2 droppers of cinnamon extract to a liter of water. So you're talking about a quart of water, okay? A quart of water, and you're adding 2 droppers in. It's not gonna change the flavor that much. But it helps to regulate the sugar levels. So these are just things that you can look at if you're having problems regulating sugar levels. Eat 3 ounces of protein before every cheat. Now, why do I say before every cheat? Who doesn't cheat? Right. Everybody cheats once in a while, okay? I mean, everybody cheats, come on, the thing is, you have to limit your cheats. If you can limit it to once or twice a week, where it's not really like you're gorging yourself, you're good. Okay, so those are the things, and what we're saying here is, if you're gonna cheat, okay, before indulging in alcohol, fries, cake, or chocolate bar, there's your Hershey bar, eat 3 ounces of protein first. You might go with 3 ounces of turkey breast, 3 ounces of cottage cheese, 3 ounces of Greek yogurt. No matter what form you consume it in, protein is your friend when indulging in heavy carbs, as it helps slow digestion. Why would that be important?
It doesn't become such a burst.
Yeah, it slows down the process and actually helps you to regulate how to break those things down. Okay, so the thing is, so it's important, but alcohol is a major, like, empty carb that you can have. So remember, don't cheat more than 2 or 3 times a week with only 1 cheat per day, so your blood sugar stays balanced. So those are the big things that we look at. This is what it was really weird when I was reading, I saw this, I was really excited. Might come as a surprise, hopefully not to you guys, but keeping your spine in line impacts your weight loss. Your spinal nerves play a role in controlling how food passes through your digestive tract. An aligned spinal column aids proper digestion, eliminating toxin and waste to help with weight loss. I was like, I sat there, you're nodding your head. Why are you nodding your head, Betty?
Because I lost 70 pounds.
Okay.
No, I've been to all kinds of doctors and
Yeah.
everything, and then just trying to
Yeah, just
straighten
changing them
myself out.
Yeah.
Seem to,
to help kickstart the whole thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. But it really made a huge sense to me because I've talked about it for years and I've known people. And you lost 35 since you've been coming, so that's the thing. So just starting to learn about how your body processes and how to do these things is an important aspect of it. Exercise your white and red muscles for 10 minutes daily. So skeletal muscles are made up of 2 different types of muscle fibers, slow twitch and fast twitch. So the slow twitch are red and usually larger, and the fast twitch are shorter, quicker. Not always, but usually shorter, quicker muscles. You activate your white muscles when you do something explosive. So those are the fast twitch. So something like a sprint or an explosive, like the high intense workouts that they do, like P90X, and you're doing something at a very high intensity. Those are the way you build up those white twitch or fast twitch muscles. Running upstairs, okay. You activate your red muscles with steady exercise like walking around the neighborhood. If you only work out one, you're only burning fat in 50% of your body, so it's vital to work out both. Here are 2 easy exercises you can do for 10 minutes at home. What are they?
running upstairs.
Yeah. No, but like if you're standing in front of your TV,
Jumping up and down.
Squats or running in place, you can do it lightly and then start bringing your legs up higher and make it more intense.
When you run away from the refrigerator.
When you run away from the refrigerator, that's it. Yes.
I've become a commercial exerciser, so every time a commercial comes on, I start doing something.
Yeah, and that's
You must not watch any TV then.
Well, but the thing is, you see, I always tell people, if you watch TV, if you get up, if there's a commercial on, okay, and you get up and start exercising, and now some of the the lengths of the commercial, the 5 minutes of commercials, it's insane. Okay, but if you, what's that?
And it's like 3 minutes of actually watching.
3 minutes, right, so if you start exercising when the commercial starts, watch your show while you're exercising, and wait till the next commercial starts, you've probably done 10 minutes of exercise. And the thing is, there's a lot of, so you can do things like burpees or squat thrusts. Squats are a good thing. Squats, an explosive way is jumping up with it. And if you can't do those things, you've got to find, you can roll on a roller, do planks, which is more of the planks, which is more of the slower muscle fibers. There's a lot of different things that you can do. You have to look for something that works for you. Okay, and if you can't, you've got to start by working the slower muscles. Start slow and then work up to that high intensity stuff. And what's high intensity for one person might be different than what it is for another person. Yes?
If you're doing a treadmill and you go up and down in the speeds, is that going to do both?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you're gonna do, that's the way with the triathlons during the winter. I don't run outside, I could. But what I do is, you do sprints and then light run. Sprints, light run, so it builds both.
Okay.
It builds both. Even when you're training, you do track training, you do something called fartleks. There are sprints around the track, and then you run and you steady pace yourself for 400, and then you sprint, so it builds both. So you're doing the explosive and the non-explosive. So on the treadmill, you can do that. Another way too is by raising it if it goes up and down.
Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, you have to be careful when you're going up and down, that if you go too high, you can hurt your ankles, the joints of your
Right.
knees and ankles. So like 1.52 would probably be the extent I would have you raise it for that.
Okay.
And then if you sprint for a short period of time, you can do that, but yes, that works, okay?
Okay.
You know, like some of us have bike trainers, like what I do is, I have a bike trainer in my basement, and sometimes that's what I'll do sprints, and then on the bike for 90 seconds, really hard, you know, explosive type sprints, or, you know, harder pedaling, and then I'll back off, and then I'll go to a cadence run, so that you could do either or. But if you want to do something whole body, you know, you could do something whole body too, like planks are a simple thing,
Yeah.
but not always easy. Okay. Huh?
Planks aren't easy.
Planks cannot be easy, but they can be easy too. If you start with them, you gotta start with them.
I
You
used
start,
to do 2 minutes, and that was like it for me. I'd be hurt for like a week.
you know, so these are the big things, that we're looking at to help regulate blood sugar. Nowhere in this talk did I talk about eat these foods, eat those foods, eat those foods. That's much more in depth. That's much more involved. And you know, as some people said here, their process started with chiropractic. Okay? And why is that? Because you're starting with a foundation. You have to start somewhere. And you know, I had a woman who I worked with at another chiropractic office, and she was my height, but she weighed 350 pounds. Big woman. One of the nicest people that you'll ever meet in the world. And she goes, and I would tell her, I said, you gotta exercise, okay? Because her blood sugars, everything was all, I go, you just have to do something. She goes, I can't, it hurts. I'm doing 10, 15, 20 minutes on the treadmill, I get off, I can't. I go, do 2 minutes. Okay, I said, do 2 minutes on the treadmill. Walk, 2 minutes. Just get up, and if it takes you 10 minutes to do 2 minutes, okay, do 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You know, it just go really light, you know? I mean, just go very light, and then get off and feel like you didn't do anything, okay? And then we started looking at her diet in depth, okay? We started looking at what she was eating, and she was eating so many white sugars and carbs, I sat there and I was like, oh my God, no wonder. I mean, it's like I went.
Stroke.
Oh my God, it was insane. It was insane, and it was weird because last weekend when I went to Lake Placid, I'm seeing all these athletes, and they're all eating white bread with peanut butter. And I'm like, peanut butter is good, but they're eating the sugary peanut butter, like Jif, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, ah! You know, I'm like, you guys are supposed to be healthy, and you're eating, but the thing is they burn it, okay, because they go out for 100-mile rides. You know, so the thing is, not that it's going to affect them later, okay, because they're not eating healthy, but because they think they can eat whatever they want because they're exercising, you can't. Okay, regulating your blood sugar, you still need to, no matter if you're an athlete or not, top athletes will tell you that, okay?
And what goes with those intermittent feedings is your stomach is still only as big as
As your fist, yeah,
so
yeah.
you're
It
feeding
can,
that
believe it or not,
technically.
you believe it or not, if you get it used to, you can expand your stomach to the size of a 2-liter bottle. Yeah, could you imagine?
With a 12-pack.
You know, with a 12-pack. But the thing is, but that's what people do. They eat like that and they do that, and that's what this woman was doing. Okay, that's what this woman was
Figure it
doing.
out.
And I told her, I said, listen, let's split up your foods. Let's not eat them at 3 times a day, let's do 5, 6 meals, break them up. And she started seeing changes, and then like, after a year and a half, she was still a big woman, she was 5'11", 200 pounds, she lost 150 pounds, okay? And she was walking 30 minutes on the treadmill, she was eating a whole bunch healthier, her sugar levels had normalized, she didn't have to take medication. The doctor was like, what are you doing? I'm going to the chiropractor, and he's helping me with how I eat. That's what you can accomplish. I mean, that's what you can accomplish. You just have to know what you're doing and be very aware of it, you know, and that's the big thing, because everybody has the capability to do it, okay? And I tell people all the time, I weigh 250 pounds, okay? And I have tried to lose weight, and it's happened, but I get down to like 235, 240, and I'm just starving. I am so hungry because I don't stop. And I just don't stop, but it doesn't help me when I ride my bike, or it doesn't help me when I run. Okay, so it's something that I have to get out of my head, but I still try to stay in shape. I'm still active every day, I adjust to do those things. But the big thing is, if you have people in your life that say, I can't do it, they can. They just have to look at it a different way. Like Lenny was saying, brown bagging. Oh, that's too hard. Really? It takes too much time. Really?
It's kind of planning, but you're eating that bag all.
But the thing
all
is,
the time you're not home.
it is planning, but the thing is, it's easier for someone to say, oh, let me go to the store. It's like making coffee in the morning, okay? I make my coffee while I'm in the shower, okay, and then I use a French press, okay? So I use a
Well,
French
they
press.
get wet on you.
It's not happening.
Oh, shit.
But the thing is, so I like to drink coffee, so I make it in the morning, and I used to go out and buy it. And I was like, this is stupid, it's taking me just as much time to go to the store, wait online, get my cup of, oh, but it's easier. No, it's taking me 10, 15, I make it at home. It takes me less time. So the thing is, it's a big change in the way you think, because it really is. You go out, it's like, oh, I can stop for breakfast somewhere, it takes 10, 15 minutes, or you go out to eat, but when you bring it with you, it's the preparation, oh my God. But those who succeed are prepared, and that's it. Yes, go ahead.
I have a secret that I concocted on brown bagging it. Right next to the refrigerator, right where I keep my lunch bag, is the snack cabinet. Most people have like chips and cookies and other stuff. I have all healthy, individually wrapped things. So in the morning, when I cannot function, I open the cabinet.
When I cannot function, I like that.
I put the bag underneath and I go, yep, one of each, drop it into the bag, and that's.
And that makes it easier.
And that makes it easier. That way you have your snacks all day long.
Yeah.
You're not scrounging for something at work. You don't have to think about it.
Right.
And as far as like protein bars and stuff like that, I actually just found a recipe the other day, which is like oatmeal and nuts and cranberries.
That you can make on your own.
And honey. So good.
Yeah,
And
that's another
I
way
made
to
little
do it.
balls out of them, left them in the fridge. Every time I open the fridge, I grab one.
Yeah,
And I'm like, wow.
and that's
So
but you see, again, that's a change in habits. You need to be able to say, oh, I can make this stuff
Yep.
and do this stuff. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. It's the change in habits. And if you want to regulate your blood sugar, because I saw it with a woman that I know that I work with in the coaching company. I coach other chiropractors, and I help them understand how to take care of people. And in doing so, there was a woman that worked in the company, and she was about 50 pounds overweight. She lost and she had blood sugar levels, she had syndrome, she had all kinds of things going on. And guess what? She lost 40 pounds, and guess what? She didn't have those issues anymore. Because she started exercising, eating properly, getting adjusted. It was weird, she wasn't getting adjusted on a consistent basis. Getting adjusted on a consistent basis, getting rest. Okay, rest is a big one, okay, because if you don't rest properly, it's gonna screw with your sugar levels, because and she just changed the way she was thinking about it, and it made a difference. And yeah, that's all preparedness. you prepare that stuff and it works. So those are the big things that are going on. But thank you all for coming. 30 minutes, we're out of here. If you have questions, I'm gonna stay. I just wanna turn this off.
Dr. Sam, what are the more sugary fruits that you should stay away from?
How do I turn this off?
When you have diabetes?
Oh, that's like when you have a